Alright guys, it is Friday, August 27th, 2021 at 1:20 a.m. Alright, let's start. We have dailyverses.net, verse of the day. Do not forget this one thing, dear friends. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. 2 Peter 3:8. Alright, let's start on Twitter. Gary Sinise did a very touching thing. He posted a video, and I'm going to play it. It says, in honor of the lives lost today.
In honor of the 12 Marines, one Navy corpsman that we lost today in Afghanistan, the 15 wounded, and everybody who's serving over in Afghanistan, God bless you. We pray for you and your families. We pay tribute to all our fallen. We'll never forget. Be safe. God bless all those serving in harm's way. God bless our Gold Star families.
Alright guys, that always tears me up. Alright guys, in honor of the lives lost today, just holding a moment of silence. Alright. Guys, I'm praying for those soldiers that lost their lives and those people affected by those bombs today. Praying for our country who needs a lot of healing. We've been going through so much with the virus and so much with all this earthquakes and hurricanes and everything happening in our country. And then now the things in Afghanistan. Just praying for everybody that's still in Afghanistan. Please pray for them. May they reach safely, be evacuated and reach home safely. Please pray for those Gold Star families and those people who are still waiting for their families, to hear news from them. So please pray for them. Alright guys, let's start looking at stories. Alright, the Taliban secures world's largest lithium deposits after U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. It has been more than a decade since we penned the U.S. discovers 1 trillion in mineral deposits in Afghanistan, in which we highlighted the colossal untapped mineral deposits that reside in Afghanistan. President Joe Biden's decision to rapidly, completely withdraw from Afghanistan makes even less strategic sense if readers go back to 2010 posts where we quoted Confessions of an Economic Hitman Part 2, the 21st Century Paradigm, which said, yet the American officials also recognize the mineral discoveries will almost certainly have a double-edged impact. Instead of bringing peace, the newfound mineral wealth could lead the Taliban to battle even more fiercely to regain control of the country. I'll leave the link for that article so you guys can check out even more information about that topic. Alright, next. Outrage after Biden administration provides Taliban with kill list of Americans, Afghan allies to evacuate. It says, during his surreal press conference late on Thursday, Biden did not deny the report of U.S. handing over names of Americans to the Taliban, saying they may have been. There have been occasions where military has contacted the military counterparts in the Taliban and said this bus is coming through. Made up the following group, let it through. The president said yes, there have been occasions like that. Biden added that to his knowledge the bulk of the group had been led through, but can't say with certitude that there was a list of names passed to the Taliban. In short, yes, the Biden administration handed kill list to the Taliban. A day which will live in infamy for the really Biden administration just got worse after Politico reported that Biden administration's officials in Kabul gave the Taliban a list of names of American citizens, green card holders, and Afghan allies to grant entry into the military controlled outer perimeter of the city's airport, a choice which, according to the media outlet which was just purchased by Germany's Axel Springer, prompted outrage behind the scenes from lawmakers and military officials. Basically, they just put all those Afghans on kill list, said the defense official, who, like others, spoke on a condition of anonymity to discuss a sensitive topic, is just appalling and shocking and makes you feel unclean. Alright, guys, so that's pretty horrific hearing all that. I'll leave the link as well to the story because there's plenty of it left. Alright, next. DHL warns global supply chain disruptions to persist next year. The complete web of seaports, container ships, and trucking companies that move goods worldwide remains deeply tangled. More than 18 months since the virus pandemic first forced governments to shut down their economies and in return disrupt global supply chains, the emergence of the Delta variant has metastasized into more logical hell for shippers. Bloomberg spoke with companies in front of the line of production and transportation to gather intel of what was happening on the ground. What they discovered was increasing supply chain disruption that will persist through 2022. We do not expect freight rates to stabilize in the near term, according to Karen Michaels, head of ocean freight and DHL Global Forwarding Asian Pacific. The combination of the year of disruption, lack of containers, port congestions, and a shortage of vessels in the right positions is creating a situation where cargo demand far exceeds available capacity. Michael said his customers have been given alternate routes and modes to transport and navigate the turmoil. We have to be prepared that costs will stay at elevated levels and are not expected to go back to pre-COVID levels, he said. Global container prices are at record highs. And they have a graph here where over the years the price of the container shipping has increased a lot. I'll leave the link to this article as well. Alright, next. Fed shutter jail where Jeffrey Epstein was found dead. The Metropolitan Correctional Center, the Manhattan jail where Jeffrey Epstein was infamously found dead after two guards who were supposed to be keeping an eye on him took naps and surfed the internet, that is according to the official story, has been shuttered by the DOJ, and at least temporarily, while the BOP scrambles to fix up the jail to make it safer environment for inmates. According to the New York Times, the decision comes just after Deputy AG Lisa O. Monaco visited the jail in order to get a first-hand look at the conditions of the operations. She decided to shut it down. Given the ongoing concerns, its current population of 233 inmates, most of whom are awaiting trial, will be moved to other accommodations. Alright, next. U.S. officials provided Taliban with names of American, Afghan allies to evacuate. So U.S. officials in Kabul gave the Taliban a list of names to Americans, green card holders, and Afghan allies to grant entry into military-controlled outer perimeter of the city's airport, a choice that prompted outrage beyond the scenes from lawmakers and military officials. The move, detailed in Politico by the three U.S. congressional officials, was designed to expedite the evacuations of tens of thousands of people from Afghanistan as chaos erupted in Afghanistan's capital city last week after the Taliban seized control of the country. It also came into Biden's administration has been relying on the Taliban for security outside the airport. Since the fall of Kabul in mid-August, nearly 100,000 people have been evacuated, most of whom to pass through the Taliban's many checkpoints. But the decision to provide specific names to the Taliban, which has a history of brutally murdering Afghans and collaborated with the U.S., who have collaborated with the U.S. and other coalition forces during the conflict, has angered lawmakers and military officials. Basically, they just put all those Afghans on a kill list. One defense official, who like others spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss a sensitive topic, is just appalling and shocking and makes you feel unclean. Asked about politicals reporting during a Thursday news conference, President Joe Biden said he wasn't sure there was such a list, but also didn't deny that sometimes the U.S. hands over names to the Taliban. All right, I had read this earlier in another article, but I just wanted to share it because there are different sources and different information when you read the whole article. All right, next. News 6 viewers help raise $700,000 in school supplies for students and teachers in Central Florida. A gift for teaching phone bank was held in News Studio 6, so that's great news. They helped raise $700,000 in school supplies for students and teachers in Osceola County and Orange County through a phone bank on Thursday. Viewers donated $45,000 for News 6 gifts for teaching phone bank on Thursday. Various matching grants for the money raised to the phone bank equate $700,000 worth of supplies. That is great news that the schools are getting more funding. All right, next. Veterans wait for news from those serving in Afghanistan. Watching the conflict in Afghanistan escalate and hearing the United States military members were killed hits home for Marine veteran Billy Joe Gillespie. It's very hard to not reach out to those people who are in the country. If you do okay and they don't answer, that doesn't mean anything. But it adds to the anxiety of is she okay? Gillespie said. She now works to ensure other female service members have access to resources through a group called Colorado Female Marines. Some of the women she works with are currently in Kabul. We did not know we're in the airport at the time. We don't know so much, and I'm just waiting for the information to come my way, she said. Congressman Jason Crow, a former Army Ranger who visited in Afghanistan, said it has been extremely difficult day for the veterans of America's longest war. Those of us who still have friends on the ground, I have a close friend who was manning the gate today and was near where the bomb went off. Luckily, he survived the attack, said Crow. Willie Gillespie waits for the news. She thinks about the conversations she had with those currently serving in Afghanistan. They don't know how much danger they are in. They were very aware that this was a possibility. Her hope is that the preparedness keeps them safe. I'll leave a link as well to this article. As you see, there's plenty of people waiting for news from overseas to see if these families will get good news or bad news. Alright, next. Fukushima to release 1 million tons of radioactive water directly into the ocean via undersea tunnel. It says Fukushima's nuclear water to be released via undersea tunnel. So as you see here, image of the radioactive fish. So don't fish and get these fish, shrimp, big fish for tuna in these areas. It says the operator of the wrecked Fukushima nuclear power plant said Wednesday it plans to build an undersea tunnel so the massive amounts of treated but still radioactive water can be released into the ocean about 1 kilometer away from the plant to avoid interference with local fishing. The operator, Tokyo Electric Company Holdings, said it hopes to start releasing the water in spring of 2023. TEPCO say hundreds of storage tanks at the plant need to be removed to make room for facilities necessary for the plant's decommissioning. An official in charge of the water discharge project, Junichi Matsumoto, said TEPCO will construct the undersea tunnel by drilling through bedrock and the seabed near its number 5 reactor, which survived the meltdowns at the plant, to minimize possible underground contamination or leakage of radioactive groundwater into the tunnel. Increasing amounts of radioactive water have been stored in about 1,000 tanks at the Fukushima Daiichi plant since 2011, when a massive earthquake and tsunami damaged 3 reactors after the cooling water became contaminated and began leaking. The plant says the tanks will reach their capacity late next year, and they're going to be releasing into the water in the spring of 2023 all of that radioactive water. Alright, next. Extreme drought conditions impact the U.S. and worldwide crop productions. Price surges ahead. Drought continues to impact the U.S. and worldwide crops. Wall Street Journal reported on Tuesday that drought is blistering key U.S. cash crops, further elevating prices for staples including corn and wheat. The punishing dynamics of torrid summer were evident this month on the Pro Farmer Crop Tour, an annual event which farmers visited tree growing areas across the Grain Belt to gather data in the coming harvest. An article explained extreme heat is baking most of the U.S., North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, and Nebraska all contain areas of extreme drought according to the data from the U.S. Drought Monitor. North Dakota and Minnesota in particular are experiencing near record lows in soil moisture, according to data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. As a result, many crop planted this year this spring are wilting. Some 63% of the U.S. spring wheat crop is in poor to very poor condition versus 6% of this time last year, according to Agriculture Department data. The poor weather has caused the USDA to scale back its expectations for U.S. crop production in 2021, which in turn is causing domestic inventories to dwindle. In the U.S. Latest monthly supply and demand report, the agency pegged ending stocks for corn, wheat, and soybeans all in the lowest level since 2013. And here you see the corn ending stocks. Ending stocks are percent of total usage, and the percentage is very low, as you see here towards the end, lower than previous years. Not good. So for 2021, wheat prices are up 12% and corn prices are up 11%, the journal article said. So wheat and corn prices are increasing. It says Mr. Malatais pointed out that farms elsewhere are getting scorched too. Last month, the International Grains Council cut its forecast for global grains harvest in the 21-22 season. The environmental agency forecast world production at 2.295 billion metric tons, 6 million tons less than it was expecting in June. The magazine Agriculture reported this week that the U.S. rated 60% of the U.S. corn crop in good to excellent condition in its weekly crop progress report on Monday, down 2% points from the previous week, while analysis surveyed by Reuters on average had expected a 1-point decline. So, not good news coming from the crops and the farming in our area. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Hit like and subscribe for more news, and God bless those families who lost family members in Afghanistan. Please pray for them. Please pray for everybody across the country, because everybody's going through something. Alright guys, see you guys next time. God bless you guys.